is Helldivers 2. The game where you can finally live out that urge to have that final last stand in a war you know you won't come out alive. Why? Because it's fun. There is something so engaging about the gameplay, resulting in some of the biggest movements online to get more players and even campaigns for Xbox players to also have access to the game. That's how good the game is. People want to spread enjoyment to other people. But how? Not to sound negative, but many gaming circles tend to gatekeep, which is understandable in a sense. You find something, a game, you like it, you obsess over it, and now some random person wants to take part in something you hold so dearly. It could be understandable from your point of view that you would want to treasure your experience. Because what if they criticize it? What if they don't like it? What if they get better at the game than you? What if it's no longer just yours? Well, that's not really the case in Helldivers 2. I mean, sure, competition will be an aspect in any game, however the point of the game isn't to beat another person. From the get-go, all the progress is collective across all players. Being a live service online game, at any given time you can see the progress that all players have in the liberation of planets across the map. Live service games as recently as the Suicide Squad killed the Justice League have proven to be a terrible experience, but Helldivers 2 actually utilizes it as a core aspect. It justifies its addition. It seems that nowadays very rarely is that implemented well. The only problem is that quite literally, Helldivers 2 is too popular. There isn't nearly enough server space to handle the player base. Besides that shortcoming, its live service features in practice are quite genius. But why? Well, the truth is, collaboration towards a shared goal can be a positive experience. To clarify, if the people in the collaboration care enough, teamwork can be easily frustrating. However, fulfilling goals together with other people can generally be cathartic, as you share joy and accomplishment with others. That sense of belonging and shared emotions can be very strong and appealing. Your victories are celebrated with others, and having someone else to witness your feats can be emotionally rewarding. But team games have always existed. What makes this any different? Well, let's get to that in a bit, but first we have to talk about what's the difference between this and team deathmatches in Call of Duty, for example. The main difference is that you are facing other players, which in most cases involves you being beaten by other people. In any situation, there's a winner and then there's a loser. Competitive FPS games can be appealing to a lot of people because it plays into that instinct of proving you are better than everyone else, and can foster unhealthy and toxic environments. And just think of how many people rage quit and find those games unplayable due to how hard it is to enter those circles. From toxic playing environments to people gatekeeping, oftentimes competitive games where you face off against other people can be very challenging to enjoy. Not to say a person can't, but it's an obstacle that the game has to balance. Features like skill-based matchmaking are built into the games as a result. The difference with Helldivers 2 is that you never fight another Helldiver. You're always fighting bugs or automatons as a team with other players. The toxic environments that can grow from competitive games due to PvP are gone because of this. It leads to a healthier playthrough experience because sure, you can have a hard time, but you are sharing that with other people, which makes it easier to fight through. And that's the other side of it, the community, the propaganda almost. I'm sure if you've taken an interest in the game, you've probably seen the patriotic posts urging you to join the fight to spread democracy and liberty for Super Earth. It's definitely a powerful motivator because of what we talked about earlier. And that's probably why this game is becoming so popular. It's just so community based. And why not celebrate its success? To begin with, the game is just so well detailed. It looks so good. Every second feels cinematic, like you are in a movie. The scenery oozes with care and passion put into it, and there are so many unique models. It looks fantastic, which provides for immersive gameplay and rising stakes. It's hard not to enjoy a game that makes you feel like a main character in a movie. This actually results in a lot of clips going viral where people showcase their final last stand, and with the music and everything, it feels straight out of a climactic third act in an action movie. In a well-written movie, these climaxes can give people goosebumps. It could give them a powerful experience, but really only if they are written well. You have to connect with the characters to care if they win or die. So in a game where you yourself are playing a character, you are already connected with the person on the screen, because that is you. So part of you is already immersed. And in Helldivers 2, because everything else is so well detailed and passionate, you have an easier time getting carried away with emotion. Big gaming studios should really look at what makes this game so appealing. Just going back to the live service example, thousands of players have been dissatisfied with the way many games have utilized this concept. Just point blank, there is a lot of greed apparent in the video game industry, and even that, Helldivers 2 has got beat, being only $40, which is relatively cheaper than a lot of big games nowadays, being upwards of $80. Good games don't have to bankrupt players. It's definitely a factor that plays a role in why the game is getting really popular right now, because it's affordable compared to a lot of other games. To think that if you make your product cheaper, more people will buy it. but maybe that's a naive take. The point is that Helldivers 2 is taking over the gaming community by storm, and its success so far seems deserved. It seems to have a hopeful future and positive impacts on players. Its only catch is the wait you have to go through to even play because it's just that popular. After it can handle more players, the only place it can go is up, potentially even introducing Xbox players into the mix. This game is so good, and for reasons we talked about before, it's temporarily pausing the console wars and allowing for connections to be made so that more players can join the fight. It's a really positive and wholesome situation. And sure, no game is perfect, not everyone will enjoy it, but a person can't deny the impact Helldivers 2 is having right now on the internet, and on the gaming industry as a whole. And congrats to Helldivers 2 for using features like live service in a good way. But what about features that most games don't use well? If you want to learn more about a concept that's good on paper but not so much in practice, check out the last video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're a bit less bored.